Deva Sardevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Neshtaki Om Agyana Timrandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Sri Caitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantika Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapikanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sate Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deva Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Shatarini Panchakalpa Taribhyasya Kripa Sindhu Bhaevacha Patidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Today we start reading from Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 3, Chapter 13, Text 27, where Lord Varahadev has just appeared. So reading on. Uchiptavala Kacharaha Kathoraha Sata Vidhuvan Kararoma Shatva Kurahatabraha Sita Damstra Iksha Jyoti Babhase Bhagavan Mahidharaha. Before entering the water to rescue the earth, Lord Boar flew in the sky, slashing his tail, his hard hairs quivering. His very glance was luminous, and he scattered the clouds in the sky with his hoofs and his glittering white tusks. So when the Lord is offered prayers by his devotees, his transcendental activities are described. Here are some of the transcendental features of the Lord Boar. As the residents of the upper three planetary systems offered their prayers to the Lord, it is understood that his body expanded throughout the sky, beginning from the topmost planet Brahmaloka or Satyaloka. It is stated in the Brahma Samhita that his eyes are the sun and the moon. Therefore, his very glance over the sky was as illuminating as the sun or the moon. So the Lord appeared in the form of a boar, but his form is transcendental, as we were saying. It's not like the material body of a boar that we see in this material world. It is not a dirty body, it's a transcendental body made of it's Satchid Ananda. His body is Satchid Ananda, eternal, full of bliss, full of knowledge, no matter what form he takes. And then because his eyes are the sun and moon, then his eye, so where he was looking, it was like illuminating. We get light from the sun and from the moon. So like that, the whole sky had become bright. The Lord is described herein as Mahidra, which means either a big mountain or the sustainer of the earth. In other words, the Lord's body was as big and hard as the Himalayan mountains. Otherwise, how was it possible that he kept the entire earth on the support of his white tusks? So he assumed a very big form because he's going to pick up the earth So he needs a form which is big enough. The poet Jayadev, a great devotee of the Lord, has sung of the incident in his prayers for the incarnations. So Jayadev Goswami, he is a very great devotee, and he wrote the song of the 10 incarnations, the Dasha Avatar. And many devotees take great pleasure in hearing this song, this bhajan. Vasati Dashana Shikhare Dharani Tava Lagna Shashini Kalanka Kaleva Nimagna Keshavadita Shukara Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare. All glories to Lord Keshav Krishna, who appeared as the boar. The earth was held between his tusks, which appeared like the scars on the bone. So Jayadev Goswami is glorifying Lord Krishna, who has come as Lord Varahadev. And he's saying he held the earth between his tusks. I don't know if you all mostly must have seen the photo. No? The Lord is there and the earth is there on his tusks.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. So we'll read on from the next verse. Granena prithvya padavim vichikran krodha padesha swayam advarangaha karaladamstro api akaraladragyam udvikshya vipran granato avishatkam. He was personally the Supreme Lord Vishnu and was therefore transcendental. Yet, because he had the body of a hawk, he searched after the earth by smell. His tusks were fearful, and he glanced over the devotee brahmanas engaged in offering prayers. Thus, he entered the water. So, Krishna also likes to have, he plays the role, when we take an actor, if the actor does not get into the role, then the actor is also not enjoying, and the people who are watching it also don't enjoy it. So Krishna really gets into the role, Here he had taken the form of a boar, and then the boars, they search by smell. So the Lord is playing his part. We should always remember that although the body of a hog is material, the hog form of the Lord was not materially contaminated. It is not possible for an earthly hog to assume a gigantic form spreading throughout the sky, beginning from the Satyaloka. Yeah, it's not possible for a pig to become so big, His body is always transcendental in all circumstances. Therefore, the assumption of the form of a boar is only his pastime. His body is all Vedas or transcendental. But since he had assumed the form of a boar, he began to search out the earth by smelling, just like a hog. The Lord can perfectly play the part of any living entity. The gigantic feature of the boar was certainly very fearful for all non-devotees. But to the pure devotees of the Lord, he was not at all fearful. On the contrary, he was so pleasingly glancing upon his devotees that all of them felt transcendental happiness. So a devotee is never scared of the Lord. A devotee knows that the Lord, he is my most best well-wisher. He is the object of my love. So there's a loving relationship between the Lord and the pure devotee. It's not a relationship based on fear, or fear is a huge tactic which we play. But this is a loving relationship. And so we see how Krishna, when he assumes the form, like when he came as Lord Nrsimhadev, he took that form so he could kill Hiranyakashipu without any weapons. So like a lion, the nails of a lion. So Krishna also enjoys playing these pastimes, He also, like, we also get into the mood, no? Sometimes we get into the role that we are playing. Krishna is also like that. So the non-devotees were fearful, who's this, such a great form? But the devotees are feeling pleasure. Savajratukutanga nipatavega vishirna kukshihi stanayan udanvan utsrishta dirkormi pujer ivartas churoksha yagneshwara pahimeti. Diving into the water like a giant mountain, Lord Moore divided the middle of the ocean, and two high waves appeared as the arms of the ocean, which cried loudly as if praying to the Lord. O Lord of all sacrifices, please do not cut me in two. Kindly give me protection. Even the great ocean was perturbed by the falling of the mountain-like body of the transcendental boar, and it appeared to be frightened as if death were imminent. So this is the Garbhodaka Ocean, not even the Pacific Ocean that we are talking about, or Atlantic Ocean. The Garbhodaka Ocean, which is filling almost, so much portion of the universe. All the bottom of the universe is filled with this Garbhodaka Ocean. So it's a huge, huge ocean, and the Lord's body, it's unimaginable, but anyway, it was so big. When he went inside, the ocean divided into two. So it's a really huge form. Can't even imagine how big it would be. Any questions or comments or anything to add till now? If not, then we'll continue reading.
So after all the Manu's life, now they're telling about the incarnations, isn't it?
Now Vidur had a desire to hear about the pastimes of the Lord. So Maitreya Muni is starting with that.
These are the pastimes, right?
Yeah.
So then consider that this is the first one for our understanding.
First one mentioned in the Bhagavatam, yes.
Yeah, first one mentioned in the Bhagavatam, right?
Yes, yes. Yes. So, Kure Shuru Shura Pred Darayam Stadapa Utpara Param Triparu Rasayam Dadarshagam Tatra Sushur Agre Yam Jivadhanim Swayam Abhyadhata. Lord Bo penetrated the water with his hoofs, which were like sharp arrows, and found the limits of the ocean, although it was unlimited. When he saw the earth, the resting place for all living beings, lying as it was in the beginning of creation, and he personally lifted it. So the ocean was unlimited, and yet Krishna could find the bottom of the ocean. So that's how inconceivable he is, He found the limits of the ocean, although it was unlimited. It's such an inconceivable thing to understand. That how can you find the limit of something that's unlimited? But then all contradictions are clarified in Krishna. Why? Because Krishna has inconceivable potencies. He can do anything. The word Rasayam is sometimes interpreted to mean Rasatal, the lowest planetary system, but that is not applicable in this connection, according to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. The Earth is 7 times superior to the other planetary systems, namely Tala, Atal, Talatal, Vital, Rasatal, Patal, etc. Therefore, the Earth cannot be situated in the Rasatal planetary system. It is described in the Vishnu Dharma. Patal Muleshwara Bhoga Samhato Vinyasya Pada Prithvim Chabibrataha Yasyo Pamano Na Babhuva So Achyuto Mamastu Mangalya Vivriddaye Harihi. Therefore, the Lord found the earth on the bottom of the Garbhodaka ocean, where the planets rest during the devastation at the end of Brahma's day. So the Lord found the earth at the bottom of the Garbhoda Kavasha. Swadamstrayodritya mahim nimagnam sa uthita samru ruche rasayaha tatrapi daityam gaddaya patantam sunabhasan dipita tivramanyuhu. Lord Boar very easily took the earth on his tusks and got it out of the water. Thus he appeared very splendid. Then his anger glowing like the Sudarshan wheel, he immediately killed the demon Hiranyaksha, although he tried to fight with the Lord. So now it's coming. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the Vedic literatures describe the incarnation of Lord Varaha Boar in two different devastations, namely the Chakshusha devastation and the Swayambhuva devastation. This particular appearance of the boar incarnation actually took place in the Swayambhuva devastation when all planets other than the higher ones, Jana, Mahar and Satya, merged in the water of devastation. This particular incarnation of the boar was seen by the inhabitants of the planets mentioned above. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti suggests that the sage Maitreya amalgamated both the boar incarnations in different devastations and summarized them in his description to Vidur. So Varahadev appears in two different millenniums, in the Chakshusha millennium and Swayambhuva. So now, and so what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he is one of the Acharya, a great commentator on Srimad Bhagavatam. He's saying that Maitreya Muni, he's combined both the appearances of the Lord. He's combined it.
Is Swayambhuva devastation means Manu devastation? Because Manu is named also
Swayambhuva Manu. Yeah, so probably around that time, yes.
Right.
Yes.
And for this incarnation, Lord Krishna had also come as Matsya and Kurma, right? So that is not mentioned, no?
Not yet. It's going to come later.
But then this was before Varaha. It was Matsya and Kurma.
Yeah, but the Bhagavatam does not exactly follow the chronology. You know? Yeah, doesn't follow exactly the chronology. So it goes with the flow of the pastimes.
Okay.
Yeah. Jaghana rundanam asahya vikramam salila yebam mrigarad ivambasi tadrakta pankang kitaganda tundo yatha gajendro jagatim vibhinda. Thereupon Lord Boar killed the demon within the water, just as a lion kills an elephant. The cheeks and tongue of the Lord became smeared with the blood of the demon, just as an elephant becomes reddish from digging in the purple earth. So this is the description of how it's looking. The Lord Varahadev, he killed Hiranyaksha in the water. How did he kill? Like a lion kills an elephant. And the cheeks and the tongue of the Lord became smeared with the blood of the demon because he pierced him with his tusks, just as an elephant becomes reddish from digging in the purple earth. So this is the transcendental pastime of the Lord. And there is, I'm not sure if it comes later or now, that is very detailed description again of how now he's just combined it. Later it will be more in detail. I'm not sure which canto it comes. That how Hiranyaksha is there and how they both are fighting. It's more detailed mentioned of it again later.
Prahlad Maharaj.
I'm sorry?
And we'll talk about Prahlad Maharaj in the 6th canto, I think. Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksh, when they'll appear
Hmm.
in mother's womb, then.
Yeah, Prahlad Maharaj is 7th canto.
Then I
So
think
yeah, as we go on, then I don't know, again, will it start from Matsya Kurma? And right now that Maitreya is speaking about this. Let's see. I don't quite remember, but we could hear. Let's read on and see what it is. Tamala Nilam Sitadanta Kotya Shimam Utshipantam Gajja Lilayanga Prajnaya Badanjalayo Anuvake Virinchi Mukhya Upatasthur Isham. Then the Lord, playing like an elephant, suspended the earth on the edge of his curved white tusks. He assumed a bluish complexion like that of a tamal tree. And thus the sages headed by Brahma could understand him to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead and offered respectful obeisances unto the Lord. So the Lord, he assumed a tamal color, that's Krishna's color. Krishna is this bluish, blackish color of the tamal tree. And that's why when the gopis would see the tamal tree, then they would hug the trees, embrace the trees. There would be so much in remembrance of Krishna. And so we see here how we do not sing the glories of the ordinary material pigs and what are the activities that they do. You know? But here the Lord, whatever form he takes, his activities are so wonderful. You know, he's assuming the form of a boar. He's diving into the Garbhodaka ocean, lifting up the earth with his tusks. It's just so inconceivable. You know, and we are singing his glories. And in that way, we are being purified. By singing the glories of the Lord, we get purified. Our sins are washed away. You know, and we get closer and closer to Krishna. We are associating with Krishna by speaking of his pastimes, because his pastimes and him are non-different. Non-different. Rasaya Ucha Chitam Chitam Te Ajita Yagya Bhavana Trayim Tanum Swam Paridun Vate Namaha Yadroma Garteshu Nilil Yur Adhayas Tasmai Namaha Karana Sukha Rayate. All the sages uttered with great respect, O unconquerable enjoyer of all sacrifices, all glories, and all victories unto you. You are moving in your form of the personified Vedas, and in the hair holes of your body, the oceans are submerged. For certain reasons, to uplift the earth, you have now assumed the form of a boar. So we can see that the qualified sages, the devotees, they know how to appropriately glorify the Lord. They know how to appropriately offer prayers to the Lord. You know, here they are appropriately telling him, O unconquerable enjoyer of all sacrifices, unconquerable. Nobody can conquer Krishna. He's supremely independent, supremely independent. Cause of all causes. The only way to conquer Krishna is by love. That's all. That's the only way if we want to conquer. Then enjoyer of all sacrifices. All sacrifices, all penances are for the enjoyment of Krishna. The yagyas we do, then the fire is the mouth of Lord Vishnu. And then all the ahuti goes inside the fire. That is for the enjoyment of Lord Vishnu. All sacrifices. So he's the enjoyer of all sacrifices. All glories and all victories unto you. You are moving in your form of the personified Vedas. We heard like how from the breathing. So breathing, Lord Krishna breathed out the Vedas. Brahmaji breathed in the Vedas. Then from Brahmaji's nose came Varahadev. So personified Vedas. And the hair holes of your body, the oceans are submerged. Imagine. You know, there's no oceans in our hair holes. There's only hair coming out. And then we take it off, take it out so painfully. Anyway, for certain reasons to uplift the earth, you have now assumed the form of a boar. He was not forced. Nobody forced him that you become a boar now. We are forced inside the pig body. And Indra also got cursed, you become a pig. Indra didn't choose. But here Krishna is choosing himself. He is by his choice. He can take any species, a form of any. He can take any form. And yet he is not limited to the activities of that form. It doesn't mean that because he became the form of a boar, he was rolling around in filth and, thinking that that's the highest pleasure, like Indra was doing. Indra, because he is conditioned by modes of nature, he is subject. So when he was inside the body of the pig, he was rolling about in the dirt and saying, this is the best thing, and I have pig babies and I have pig wives, and I'm eating the best pig food. That's how we are. We get, what is that? We are subject to the rules of this material world. We are subject to the rules of the material modes. So we can see, but Krishna is not. He is not subject to the modes. The Lord can assume any form he likes, and in all circumstances, he's the cause of all causes. Since his form is transcendental, he is always the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as he is in the causal ocean in the form of Mahavishnu. Innumerable universes generate from the holes of his bodily hairs, and thus his transcendental body is the Vedas personified. He's the enjoyer of all sacrifices, and he is the unconquerable Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is never to be misunderstood to be other than the Supreme Lord because of his assuming the form of a boar to lift the earth. That is the clear understanding of sages and great personalities like Brahma and other residents of the higher planetary systems. So they all correctly knew the position of the Lord, that he is the Supreme Lord, and this is his pastime. His form is transcendental, even if it's the form of a boar. It's not a material form. Many people say that when the Lord comes, because he's taken a form, it's a material form. But no, we can see. We hear now, we are seeing, we are hearing how his activities are not limited to the body of a boar. His activities are transcendental, even though he's in that form. So similarly, when he came in his original form as Sri Krishna, that form is also Satchidananda, transcendental, not material, like our bodies are material. Is that okay?
Yes, and it says clearly, there's a reason, like why he took this form, right?
Yeah, to
There's a
uplift
reason
the earth. Yeah,
uplift the earth. So that's the reason. So why he comes in different forms, that's a reason behind it.
Yeah, for his particular, to
Yeah.
perform a particular pastime.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. And yet we say, no, Krishna's form is material, that he's forced under Maya. No, Bhagavatam so clearly shows us the position of Krishna, and Krishna's form. So, all transcendental activities. So, we'll stop here for today.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining in today morning. Thank you for your participation. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Bol.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.